So, after over 50 hours of playing this game, I finally made it. I finally completed the story of Pokemon Pokopia. I have to say that I did really enjoyed it. Zero expectations to full satisfaction, I gotta say. The first time I saw the trailer of Pokemon Pokopia, I was like, I mean, cool, but it is not one of my favorite game genres. Like, I barely can handle Animal Crossing games. And I was playing Animal Crossing New Horizons with the new updates. And then, when I was watching this first hands-on from several media, I was like, wait, this game is looking very interesting. And I think there was a Nintendo Treehouse 2 that convinced me more. I was still having my doubts, but I was like, well, since I haven't been in the mood by playing Animal Crossing New Horizons, I think I will give it a shot. And I played it, and jeez, what a game. It has surprised me, and still has been surprising me a lot. Of the gameplay, of the aesthetic, of Pokemon behaviors, and story. It's amazing, guys. So, I want to review it. I'm gonna share the pros, I'm gonna share the cons. Also, I'm gonna share the observations. These observations doesn't affect the review. These are just personal notes and personal opinions of myself. And, of course, we have the questions. And the first question is Pokemon Pokopia the best game to start getting a Nintendo Switch 2? And is Pokemon Pokopia nominated as the best game of the year? So, let's start with this. The rhythm of the game. Holy moly, man. There are several games that are similar to this, that you start slow, or you start without almost anything and you have to progress slowly. And there will be several occasions that you will feel that the game is just not that fun and you're losing the rhythm constantly, and you just stop playing the game, or you just have you just put a pause to play it later when you feel the mood of it. But in this game, geez, you start quickly, and in less than an hour, you get the necessary tools to do like this 50 or 60% of the whole game gimmicks, of the whole game dynamics and plot. It's amazing. And you will be having lots of fun. The rhythm keeps at it as you progress on the game, and even in a post-game, you still have the rhythm going. It's non-stop. Well, I won't say non-stop, but it almost never happened to me that made me want to stop playing the game. But yes, the rhythm of the game is amazing. So fast, gives you the necessary tools very quickly, and you just start going to whatever you want to do. It's so good. Also, the story plus lore. The story seemed a bit simple at first. You'll be like, alright, yeah, something happened. So this is looking a little mess. So what we're gonna do is restructure everything. And that makes you the plot of the mission of, okay, let's start working on this. Let's start working on that. And as more as you play around, you will see these diaries or these collectible articles and such, and magazines. And the more you read it, the more you want to dig into the lore of the story, of what happened, how it ended up like this. And the main story even has hints of it. And it's really entertaining to see the story, though. It is not a normal, silly, cliche type of story and lore. This one is some deep, bizarre story and lore. Good lord. The more I was reading the diaries and so, I was like, jeez, is this a Pokemon farming game? Is this a sandbox game? What is this, bro? I was getting surprised by more I was digging in the story of the game and its lore. It makes you very entertaining. Of course, that these diaries and such, it appears on several games around, even outside of this game genre. But this game as a Pokemon franchise, and the plot of this game, and you see this, and then you see the story and lore, and it's like, geez, am I in the correct game? And it's not in a bad way, it's a good way, because it does tends to be like, okay, dude, I have to find more of this, I need to know more about this. There must be a Pokemon who must know about this and such as that. It's really entertaining though. Also, the Pokemon functionality. These Pokemons have their own roles. They have their own purpose. It tells you what they can do, and you can see them in action. And these Pokemons feel so useful. This type of game in general, that the villagers or your neighbors are very useful. It does help you a lot of these situations. There have been several situations that I'm like, okay, I need a lot of these fire type Pokemons. I need this specific water type Pokemon. I need these Pokemons to build a house or to build something else. And it's like, geez, bro, I cannot do anything without you guys. It is pretty cool to see how this Pokemon works on it. And it sounds silly because you will say, well, there are other games that has this kind of interactivity. But this type of games that one could refer to it, I will say that it doesn't have this type of uniqueness of type of roles that makes like, I can use this character instead, like, whatever. But in this one, it's like, geez, I need to find this Pokemon, I need to find this Pokemon, I need to find this Pokemon. Like, it urges to be like, geez, I need this Pokemon urgently so he can help me to doing this activity. They have their important purposes. Of course, that not all of them has their important purposes or roles. There's all of them that is like, okay, just in case. But there are like several, either way, there are several Pokemons that it has important roles in it. Another one is fun exploration. Oh man, it's so fun exploring around here. At the start of the game, you will see like, okay, it's kind of big. But then in the next towns that you will progress in the game, you're like, good lord, bro, I can dig in more. And then as you progress and exploring these places, you find these places that you didn't know it exists, or this entrance that you didn't know it exists, but since it's all messed up in the town, it's like, what the heck, I didn't know there was something like this. And then you have Dream Islands that also has its own like unique items that you can find and you have to explore around. And then there is these cubes with a treasure that you can find around. And also there is these little rooms that you'll be like, all right, let's see what's in there. And there will be some obstacles that it makes you prevent to go further to the town. And you're like, dang, I need something. And when you need something, you are so excited to go and explore more. It is pretty fun exploring around and find what things you could find in there, or finding new ways to put a new habitat and such as that. Also, the accessibility to be creative. This is very common, right? This is very common to any game, the accessibility of being creative, but in this one, the towns are in a really correct size though. Some towns are even bigger than expected, that you can imagine. And in the level of being creative of how to build your town in your own way is incredible, because the tools that you start with is necessary to start doing your own creativity to put on work. And if you are struggling in here and there, you can just wait until you progress the game. And even in post-gaming will give you a tool so important that it will give you all the freedom to create anything. That you have seen around many videos probably, or many photos of these creations of making a sprite art of a Pokemon or such as that. And there is all kind of imaginations that you can create here, like even making a sprite art, or just doing a reference of a town, of a real world town, or such as that. Like, you can do a lot of good stuff here, and it's all the type of freedom in here you can do though. And there are several towns that you can modify and try to make your own version of this town, let's say. Talking about this though, the towns of this game are so perfect. Jeez, man, I love it. It's insane, because if you thought that the first town, it was in a good big size, to be like, okay, yeah, you start with this town and then you will move to the next one, you will expect to be the same size. No, it has a bit more and a bit more, and even it gives you some towns that is like, dang, is this big, bro? How in the world could I start in this? There is a lot to do, and it's lovely though. Now, it's not like you have a lot of towns in there, but it has the correct amount of towns, and their own sizes of the towns maps are perfectly. They are perfectly to explore, they're perfectly to modify if you want, they're perfectly to put any kind of habitats here. It is perfectly calculated to each of the towns. And lastly, there is always something to do in this game. No joke. It is a lot of fun. Even on post-game, I am like, okay, I could try to make these kind of habitats. Okay, let me see if these Pokemons are comfier so I can increase the level of the environment of the town. Okay, I could explore in these areas to see if I could find any kind of treasures. Could explore in the Dream Island to see new items or recipes. Like, there is always something to do daily. And the shops, you can also check on the shops to see if there is a new items, because it rotates like every week or every few days. And it's pretty cool though. And it has ways to do like, okay, I want this place to be like a full of flowers garden or something like that. So you will try to do that though. Or you want to build houses or buildings, and it's like, okay, let me just work on it. Let's get the kit and bring in all the products and such. It is pretty great to see that there is always something to do. Now, just because this game sounds so perfect, doesn't mean that it's literally perfect. It has some issues in this game. Some issues that, some of them really annoys me in the game. And in the first one, I want to talk about this. There are times where you are entering a new town, for example, and you see around the town and you are like, dang, this is a disaster, bro. How could I start? And even if the game tells you what to do, you are just like, man, I wish I could do that, but I want to keep progressing on the other town, like the first town, to keep doing like some changes and environments. But also I could start doing this, I could start doing the habitats. Like in some time you will start to feel like you are blocking yourself and by all the overwhelming stuff that you can do in a new town, for example. And it's kind of frustrating sometimes, because you feel like you want to progress quickly, but then you're like, man, it's not working in this way. Or you're like, damn, I see this, but I want to focus on that other side. Like, you start to have full of ideas in mind, even if the game tells you what to start first, as if you want to. But then you as yourself, you will feel very overwhelmed by all the situations that you have, that you just start to block yourself and just, I don't know, go with it or doing something else instead. It can make you feel very overwhelmed in some occasions. And then the other problem is this one. This one has happened to me several times, man. When I'm trying to take something, let's say a TV, or something in the wall, or any prop that you want to say. Even if I literally aiming my character to it, or see that it's selecting like a little white transparent type of illumination that, oh yeah, you're aiming to this item, the character grabs something else that even wasn't in my eyes of sight, and it wasn't even the character's eyesight, or even it wasn't on my aim at all, dude. It grabs always something else. I was like, why? I'm trying to grab this thing that I'm in front of it by inches, and you grab this other thing that is on your left or on your right or in front of this object that I want to grab, but you decided to grab the other object. Like, why are you doing this? It's so frustrating sometimes. Now you would say, oh well, you use the mouse functionality. Yeah, dude, I prefer playing Switch Pro controller on it. And yeah, it's so annoying, and several times that I have been trying to grab something and just grab other thing that I never expected to grab it. And then we have this one. There has been few times, I have to say, but still, it will happen several occasions. It has happened to me a few times where I'm trying to build something, and in the town we don't have a specific Pokemon with a specific role. And then I'm like, okay, let me search that Pokemon. And then you cannot find it though. You can't find this specific Pokemon that you were thinking of, and it can happen several times, and you're like, dang, where is it though? And it seems, I've been noticing little by little, it seems that if you have a certain amount of Pokemons, It seems that each town had like its own max capacity to respawn Pokemons, that some of them doesn't appear anymore. And it kind of sucks. You're like, okay, I'm near this town, so let me just look at this Pokemon and just making this Pokemon follow me so he can work with it. Well, I cannot find it, and I'm like, geez, where is it? And you try to find in every direction by going around the town, and you cannot find it. And it's like, dang, screw it though. Let me just check the other one. So let me check the Pokédex, which other Pokemon that I have discovered has this specific ability or role. It tends to be annoying several times on these situations though. It doesn't happen all the time now. Because there is always a Pokemon with this role. The problem that I have is I want to have each town to have this specific role and not to have a Pokemon with each role in the whole world of Pokemon Pokopia though. Again, it doesn't happen every time, but when it happens, it's kind of frustrating. I do not remember if there is like a Pokemon who can search, but it's really sad to see that it cannot appear the majority of the Pokemons though. So one of the solutions will be, okay, let me then put this Pokemon to a town who has never been in a role with this Pokemon type, or let me put this Pokemon to a town who not a lot of Pokemons are living with, so then I can be for sure that this Pokemon will appear forever. Now guys, we are going to the observations. Now, again, these observations doesn't affect the review. These are my personal opinions, my personal notes. It might affect to me, but it doesn't affect at all to the game though. These just are my personal notes, my experiences and all that. And to start with, I want to say that the Pokemon feels so alive, man. So alive, so interactive. As you pass the town though, you see them playing as chasing each other. You see them trying to turn on fire from their own. You see them looking at something. You see them talking to each other or trying to bomb a tree so they can eat the fruits. Like, you can see how alive the place is, man. And if a Pokemon seems to be very far, they will go to the other Pokemon who is on the other corner just to say hi. It's so cool to see how alive and interactive this game is on the Pokemons though. Now, yeah, of course that the other games will have something similarity to this, but this one feels so unique. Way more alive comparing to other games that I have played before. This feels like you are part in the city and you see your neighbors, or you see in this occasion Pokemon that you have discovered and friends with just chilling around or doing what they like to do, or you just put a toy or a prop and they interact with it. Because, for example, in Animal Crossing though, they just look at the flowers or they open a book and such, but nothing else happens. Of course they talk to each other and such, but in this one they act on their own, like, oh my god, this torch is not on fire, let me lit up. Oh man, this light is not on, let me use my electricity powers to generate electricity to that street light over there. You will be like, this thing has some Pokemon metal in it, let me just make us an ingot. And such as that though, there is a lot of stuff that they can do by themselves, and also you see them playing to each other, you see them talking, and there are times where you can get in the talk and hear what they are talking about. It's so cool, man. Also, there are lots of Easter eggs and also lots of nostalgia in here. There is a lot of references from the first game. It's so cool to see that. Like, as you are checking the magazines, the diaries, and as you check the towns and such, you feel so nostalgic because you see in this game, in this art direction, in this graphics, this particular place or this particular photo or such, or the story of it, and you feel so nostalgic, like, man, I want to play Pokemon Red because I want to revisit here, I want to play Gold and Silver because I want to revisit here, and such as that. It's so cool to see this on all the references, on all the Easter eggs that you can find around. Also, the music is beautiful. There are some music that I love it a lot. When the first time when I went to Dream Islands, as I was exploring the Dream Island for the first time, I was hearing the music. I was like, dang, bro, this is some high quality music that I wish it could have been in a traditional game of Pokemon, dude. If I was a kid again, I would be so hyped up if I was a Pokemon fan back in the days. It's so great on the music, though. This is pretty interesting, guys, because there was, I think it was on Bleak Beach, but also it happened in several locations on other towns where instead of progressing on the main quest, I was like, okay, but first I want to clean up, or I want to put some electricity around to see how cool it will see on the night with all these lights on. And as I progress on the main quest now, they tell you, hey, we need to have more lights. Let's put some street lights. Let's put some electricity here using these items. In the next conversation, it's like, oh, wait, you already done this? Oh, that's cool. Then let's go into the next step. And it's like, oh, jeez, I did this in advance without knowing. All right, then. I thought I would be like soft lock or stuck on another thing, though. But no. Now, on the cons, this is something that didn't happen to me yet, but I've seen many people that has been happening a lot. It's this situation where as you are just playing on your way on Pokemon Pokopia, then later you see on media, on social media, pictures and videos of other players doing like way more better stuff and creativity, or even progressing the game way faster than you, and it's like, dang, bro, I suck at this game. And even if this doesn't affect me because I have the mentality of, man, I can go with my own way, though. I can just enjoy it even if I'm super slow. And yeah, it is something very true, though. It is something very true because it's on your own path, though. Like, it's your own game if you want to progress fast or be creative or not. Like, what I do is progress the game story, and then later I can start decorating whole town and such. But there are players who sees and compares to other players and they're like, man, I now feel unmotivated on playing this game. And they stop playing this game. And even if this is not me who has experienced it, there are several players who feels that. And that is one of the observations that I have seen as a con. It doesn't affect the experience of the game, of course, but by comparing to other players, it's something that it will affect you. Of course, I will recommend everyone to not do that and just enjoy playing your game with any freedom that you have in this game, which it's a lot of freedom you can do in this game. The other thing is, as I said before, if there are too many Pokemons in a town, there will be times where you cannot see some Pokemons anymore. And I do not have still the knowledge of how you will make some Pokemon appear again. Even if you go to their habitats and tell you, hey, this Pokemon lives here, they do not appear at all in the town. Which again, it kind of sucks where you want to see all the Pokemons and the game cannot let you do that. I don't know if because of the performance or because to not make super saturated of the whole town. But the thing is, I want to see the town alive with a lot of Pokemons around. Of course, the size makes sense in a way, but there are some towns that are way much bigger and it's like, yeah, I don't know. I prefer watching this full instead of not that full. And again, there are times where I want to look at a specific Pokemon to work on it, to make some house, for example, and I cannot find it though. And I'm too lazy to go to another town to search other Pokemon. The other situation that I have is this. Some buildings that you can get by discovering a treasure or by buying it on the shop, some building kits for houses takes up too much space for the building kit compared to the building being finished. And some of them, it's like, oh my god, this looks so big, dude. This will fit enough Pokemons, bro. And then when you see finish, you see a freaking small house in there. And it's like, why in the world? And then the funniest part is the game tells you, oh yeah, here you can fit you and 4 more Pokemons if you want to live in this house. If not, just 4 Pokemons. It's like, bro, it's just a small room with a single bed, a desk, and a chair. This room feels like it can live 1 Pokemon. And you're telling me that it can fill 4 Pokemons. It's very silly to see that the building kit space is too much comparing to the building finished. But yeah, guys, now the moment of truth, guys. Is Pokemon Pokopia the best game to start getting a Nintendo Switch 2? Yes. And I say this question because I have seen people checking Nintendo Switch 2 and they're like, yeah, I have seen comments about Mario Kart World and I'm not interested in it. Or they'll be like, yeah, I'm not a fan of Donkey Kong, so I won't play Donkey Kong Bonanza. Or I'm not a fan of Kirby Air Riders, and on and on. And I'm like, all right, that's understandable though. Like I love Nintendo video games. I love Donkey Kong Bonanza. I love Mario Kart World. I love Kirby Air Riders. Those games are so fun. I'm discarding the Nintendo Switch 2 editions of a Switch 1 existing game. I'm discarding those because those are not a reason to play and buy a Nintendo Switch 2, in my opinion. It has to be a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive games. And for me, the best games to start playing on a Nintendo Switch 2, or the best reason to get a Nintendo Switch 2 is Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza. And if you don't like either of those two, or if you're not convinced of those two games, then I will say Pokemon Pokopia. Either if you are a fan or not a fan of Pokemon franchise, this game is so beautiful, amazing, and fun to be a cozy game. Like, I have spent 50 hours, over 50 hours playing this game. And holy moly, man, I am not a guy who enjoys playing game genre like this on Pokemon Pokopia or Animal Crossing even. In Animal Crossing though, I do play it when I want to just chill, but in Pokemon Pokopia, jeez man, it's so enjoyable. It's so fun. There is always something to do and the rhythm it keeps going and go. And at the end, the last question is Pokemon Pokopia nominated as a best game of the year? Let me rephrase that. Could Pokemon Pokopia be nominated as the best game of the year? Yes. Just as it was Animal Crossing New Horizons back in 2020, I also believe that Pokemon Pokopia will be also nominated as best game of the year in 2026. I do believe it 100%. It will be pretty sad if they don't do this, if Pokemon Pokopia is not nominated as game of the year. Winning though, I doubt it. There are some other amazing games that can be way better than Pokemon Pokopia. There are two specific games that hopefully will launch this year that it seems to be very good contestants as game of the year. Pokemon Pokopia will be the third best if there is nothing else, but to be nominated at least, I do believe so. And the total I will put is a 9.5. This game, it keeps even surprising me how good, alive, and fun it can be. And I'm telling you this while I haven't played multiplayer yet. I have been playing all solo, and well, I do have to say that this game, I think it is one of the best, or even I could say the best game to start getting a Nintendo Switch 2. Because this might be one of the lost treasures of recent Nintendo games that people will easily ignore, and they are missing it out. Even if this game genre is not for you, as it is not for me, mainly, I think this game could be the perfect game to have a cozy game and just chill around as you enjoy the game. Because this game, not only the story can make you dig in more, but also the rhythm of the game and how fun the exploration can be, and also the creativity if you are very creative to do stuff. And the best part of it is there is always something to do in this game. Either building a house, either discovering a new habitat to make it, discovering Pokemons, or just walk around and see how alive the town is. I think this game could have been the best game to start from the release of Nintendo Switch 2, instead of Mario Kart or instead of Donkey Kong Bonanza. So I do recommend you a lot to a person who constantly plays competitive games like hero shooters, or who constantly plays like platforming games. I do recommend this cozy game. by a lot.